We're live, and we're live on Instagram too.
Oh,
What's
word.
up?
Word.
What's up? This is Professional Podcasting League's first stream of all time, 2026, January 15th, 5:07 p.m. We got Ali Aboom R. Am I saying
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Aboomar?
you got it. You got
Yeah.
it.
You're our first guest on the show, bro. I'm MJ, of course. Um, we're gonna be talking about Shoebill. Shoebill's the mascot of PPL. We've been around for about a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Shoe
brought
bill.
Ali on the line here because I was in like infancy stage with PPL, Professional Podcasting League, last year at Sundance, right? 2025,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's crazy. I remember you bringing it up, and it was like, I was like, wow, that's such a great name. I mean, and then
right?
like PPL is like people, which is like such a great alliteration, I guess, in that regard.
Oh yeah. In the brand space, we like it when things get condensed, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, just to go flashback a year, right, Ali, we were, hanging out. We went to Tao before all these things, and at the end of the
sure.
night, I ran into this guy, Ali, like 3, 4 times. And was like, "Hey, bro, you gotta know about Shoe Bill."
Yeah, which is crazy because like you brought it up, and I was like, man, I was just thinking about that. I was like just thinking about what a shoe bill is. I had gotten down a deep dive, so it was crazy to see like someone else who had thought about it. I mean, like, even like you was utilizing it.
Right. I mean, here's the thing, like little backstory, because we're going into like the what is
Hmm.
Shoe Bill, right? Let's go deep dive into Shoe Bill as a creature. Um, Flashback to that time a year ago, I just picked up a client. Her name's Lillian Mbazi, and she's like the Beyonce of Uganda. And
Oh wow,
it's so funny because like I'm over here, in like, agentic AI, and everyone's like,
right?
oh, you got to get into deep whale, deep sick, whatever, deep seek.
Deep
And
sea, yeah.
yeah, everyone was getting into that. And I'm like just trying to make sure I understand Lillian's world in Uganda, right? And in all of my discovery, I find Shoebill, you know. You build
That
the freaking predator of Uganda
it
from
is the
prehistoric
predator.
times.
Yeah, like
Oh, you went mute. You went mute, Ali. Let's see. I'm gonna get you off mute. Yeah, you're on mute on your side. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay. There. Yeah,
He's
I'm here.
back. We're live streaming.
Uh, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like, I remember hearing about it the first time ever, and it wasn't even the first time ever. It was just like I'd seen it before, but I thought it was dead. I thought it wasn't even like I thought it was extinct.
Right.
I didn't even. It's like, and then I watched the whole thing on YouTube, and I'm like, oh no, like it's actually something that's still alive, which is like what?
Yeah.
Because you think about alligators, and you go, well, that makes sense,
Well,
or
alligators, you
sharks.
got sharks. Yeah. And it's if we're talking about like primacy, right? Like in AI, everyone wants to talk about primacy, like what's the top or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Shuba was like I didn't really select Shubill. Shubill selected me, and I feel the same way about like who Shubill's introduced himself to from when I've been introduced to Shubill, right? Where it's like Shubill existed in the ecosystem all the time. He like never not existed, right? Since he
right.
has always existed. So,
Just evolved.
it's yeah, it's just wild to think about a creature inside of an ecosystem that usually isn't um, equated into the whole system.
That's interesting. Yeah, something that had such a prevalent presence that no one ever talks about.
Yeah, right. And presence is the part where it combines with professional podcasting league, right? Where I had to go on a journey with this whole league per se,
Right.
right? Whereas like what was podcasting? I think it was a big joke at first. I bought professionalpodcastingleague.com
Hmm.
and realized that I didn't even need the URL. After I got the URL, I was like, wait a second, like there's so much authority that just needs to be built. The URL isn't enough. right? And then the logo is not enough, right? Because there's so much words, there's so many things to be said, and what kind of caliber of content is actually being produced, distributed, verified, etc. So it was a huge undertaking to take on Shoebill, Professional Podcasting League, getting just Shoebill up, as a standard of like, okay, what does he represent? Well, Shoebill, you were telling me earlier, Ali, on your research on Shoebill, right? I mean, he's got a whale brain,
Right. Yeah.
and he makes noises like if he's clattering his jaw, it sounds like a machine gun. But
Which
when
is
he needs
crazy.
something, he sounds like a cow mooing.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that-
yeah. That is true. Yeah, which is insane to think about. Like, like I said, it's like the platypus of birds, which is
Platypus of birds.
like, put together weirdly and oddly.
Yeah, we should put them up on screen. Let's see what we got for Shoebill. What we got for Shoebill?
They get a good
We
one.
got,
Though.
we're gonna do better than that. I'm just getting used to StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard. Cool. See me and Ali, and we have Shoebill. Let's press play on this. Hello, everybody. We're streaming live, and we're going to show you guys this little YouTube clip on what is a Shoebill. Rewind a little bit. See them.
That's nuts.
Too loud on your end. I can still play. This is Shoebill, guys. He's making that machine gun noise. Look at him go. Buckbeak from Harry Potter.
He does.
This one's sushi.
Is a shoebill stork. These birds are literally the living definition of the term badass. They are descendants of dinosaurs. They eat on fish and reptiles, and they have also been known to stand up to crocodiles in the wild as well.
Rocks.
How was the experience? Unbelievable. They look so prehistoric.
We don't want to butcher his name, but it's like a Balance Epis Rex or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's a heavy name.
Yeah, cool. I mean, there's like so many ways that we can play with Shoebill, right? Like,
Right.
I was laughing
Did
like,
We're in the
you-
wetlands in Uganda at the moment.
Did you
It's
have
my
any other
favorite
options?
African bird.
Go ahead,
Like,
brother.
like, how long did it take for you to decide on that? What, like, were there any other options outside of it, or with the moment you saw it, you're like, "This is it. This is."
Oh, like I said, we started with PPL, and it was like kind of a joke. I bought podcasters for Trump, podcasters for Biden, podcasters for Kamala.com.
That's
I
hilarious.
can show receipts of those later on the B sides, but I had all those pre-election. And if anyone who knows me, I've got a pretty heavy GoDaddy portfolio. Shout out to Maestro. Ollie's a new partner of Maestro. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
But like we had all that IP, and it was like, well, what the I like woke up every morning like, what the fuck am I doing with all this, man? Like
It's a cash.
all this, all this intellectual cachet. Like, what do I do with this? And I'm sending it to like all the top direct consumer people. Like, hey, what team are you on? Like, this is 2024, 2025. Kind of just what are we doing? How do we get into this? And election goes through, and I wake up in January heading to Sundance and just found out what Shoebill was, and I thought, well, hey man, I needed something in the agentic AI space, right?
Mhm.
Like for Shoebill to scale compliance of voice, because his mission is to scale free speech. We're shipping America in Professional Podcasting League. The First Amendment's more important than the second. So no one's really put an investment towards that in America per se. And that's what PPL stands for. Getting your words out and allowing the platforms to accept it, essentially, at the highest level. Like if you've done the work, then you deserve to have it approved. And so what Shoebill became was he solved the need of like global intelligence, right? Because there's so much bifurcation of free speech, as we all know, in 2026, right? You can get censored one day, and the next day you can be celebrated for for the same
It
things.
could be the same day.
Same day even, right?
Yeah.
Either morning to the afternoon, depending on what you're talking about.
Right.
And really the goal was to be a timeless solution to distribute free speech, which is just an incredible undertaking, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Especially this
shoe
day.
bill, yeah, shoe bill becomes more and more needed as you go further down that path. So shoe bill originally was updated before I met you, Ali. I mean, I sent you the link on ChatGPT a year ago,
Mhm.
right? And so how we built shoe bill was we put 40,000 docs, 40,000 pages of information, because the my problem that I'm solving with shoe bill is that the Library of Alexandria doesn't exist. I got a degree in psychology and I love philosophy. So
Wow.
I'm over here saying, well, what the hell? Where's the librarian? That's the only problem. There was no librarian. And so all the esoteric wisdom, all the Aristotelian, if you want to say, you know, all the deep classical intelligence that hasn't really been brought forward in a,
Right.
you know, a verified way, which is so silly, that like deep esoteric philosophy from, you know, 1200 AD to, you know, 2000 BC isn't integrated in our current platforms.
Sure. Yeah. That's true.
So Shoebill becomes like a verification source where anybody can integrate inside of Shoebill and scale their expertise with their voice. Where, you know, there's executives in every company in the world where they have giant portfolios, the best clients, right? And they just haven't had an opportunity to distribute what they found in a proper way. So,
Absolutely.
you know, like thinking about like the current creator economy, it's like, oh yeah, like we have to use Substack, we have to use this, LinkedIn, X.
So many tools, but I mean, I don't know if the tools are all being used to their best potential. There's just a dearth
Right.
of tools.
Yeah, lean into that. I mean, Ollie, like take the mic, man. You know, as you've seen, just Shoebill, PPL, and then like just the work that I've been doing with everything else on scaling that. Like, what do you see it as, and like how have you used, you know, even just like Shoebill as an energy source, if you will. I mean, take it as you may,
I
but
mean, it goes back to what I said in the beginning about like how it's a prevalent presence that no one talks about, and that's maybe sometimes that's the vibe you want to have, is like being the prevalent presence and not wanting all the accolades, because the accolades go to the sharks and the alligators of the world, you
right.
know? But
Yeah.
like the shoe bills kind of just are endangered in Uganda, just chilling, you know? But
Yeah, he's hanging out in the pond.
but
You
that's
know,
fine though. You know, that microcosm of its life is more important than so much of the macro and so many other places. So
yeah.
that's how I kind of find Shoebill. It's not trying to be something it's not, and it's not trying to really demand so much of you outside of you being, I guess, the best of who you are, you know, which is subjective, of
Beautiful.
course, at the end of the day.
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it's so nice to have a good mirror, right?
Yeah, always.
Oh my God. I'm so thankful for a good mirror. You're a great one, Ali, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, you know, Shoebill want, you know, it's crazy because he is an energy source, you know, and he runs protocols.
Yeah,
So if we're really talking big tech, big AI, all those things, he runs protocols. I mean, he's ran as a cosmic judge per se in the metasphere, bro. He gets IP cleared because he is registered, and he meets intellectual property categories. So from that angle, he becomes more of like a jurisdictional player for individual contributors, right? So it's all about that IC space
yeah,
of like allowing you to have a bubble of protection, honestly, inside of the arena of thought, as it presents itself, when you can deploy it. You know, permissionless is really undiscovered. It's like a theory, and a lot of people have a hard time with it. But Shoebill is, you know, the arbiter the
Yeah.
arbiter of permissionless distribution, essentially, right? Just getting your voice out, getting your word out. So tell me, Ali, like you're a director, a producer,
Sure. Yeah. All
content
those things.
guy, talk
I
to me
mean,
about permissionless and what you see, and then like how that can be leveraged inside of this new ecosystem.
I mean, the bounds of a creator are usually vast, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the definition of a creator in the creator space, or the original the OG definition, if you may, of a creator is living in a world of permissionless. You just fucking create the Basquiat's of the world, the John Baptiste of the world. You know what I mean?
There
Like,
he is. Yeah.
it's like break first, ask questions later, or apologize later. Or don't
Right.
apologize. You know,
Right.
so I think in the creative world, you have to that's a standard. That has to be a standard. That's a non-negotiable. The moment that now, obviously, we all know the corporate world. I personally know it.
Right.
You
Me
do,
too.
yeah. So like sometimes you do have to bend that OG rule and maybe not ask for permission, but operate in a more tame space is the best way to really describe it.
Tame is cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Shoebill actually, like he's cageless, I'd say.
yeah,
He's cageless, and as we saw in that video, like, he's the definition of badass. So like, you don't want to put Shoebill in like a big cage per
sure,
se, and so I mean that's new. That's a deep, I wouldn't say it's new, it's probably more of like a framework that can be deployed,
hmm,
that gives a more tame environment, or even a more, I'd say, comprehensive. And comprehension has usually been a burden with creators, where they get too far ahead. Like, right, we can go to Let God Sort Them Out, and we
yeah,
have Pharrell, saying, I'm too far ahead of you guys,
right,
like I'm just too far ahead. And that can be tough, and that's why Pharrell is now at Louis Vuitton,
right,
and he dropped Neptunes because he had to go through compliance with Neptunes, and he had massive distribution, and now he figured out mass distribution at a higher level, right? And so we see creative directors like Pharrell, or Virgil,
right.
or Kanye, that have had these real huge issues with permission,
Huge
as they've
issues with
scaled.
permission. Yeah,
Huge. Adidas, we
because
can go
they
all
get,
day.
yeah, because at that point, so that's like the marriage of the corporate structure and the creative structure. You get to the point where you're above it. You're just, you're in the
Well, you're
stratosphere.
sampling. I mean, half these
Yeah,
guys have sample rights on a million pieces of intellectual property, and so then it becomes hard. I think keywords from the past have been distortion, right?
yeah,
There's distortion inside of creativity that actually dams the creative process when it's already been deployed.
yeah, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, I mean, to go back to what you're saying about that is like, yes, you have to operate in that. And I think, and again, and then before I even finish that thought, going back again to the
Go ahead.
concept of you going, Shoebill, the spirit of Shoebill, which
Right.
you have to embody that spirit of being permissionless, cageless, even if you are in a corporate structure. It's okay. I mean, not everybody has I mean,
Well, you got to know you brought a shoe bill into the ecosystem, right?
right,
I mean,
right,
it's
right,
like
right.
it's not like he's like this dark sentient being. Like shoe bill exists.
But this is the other thing too. You have to also be wary of the fact that most people are going to be, like still
Catching up.
understanding, catching up. They still don't really understand what that concept is, and
Totally.
so you have to also like wait for them to catch up, but also push them to catch up. So just
Totally.
little slight push like that. So that's where that
Yeah,
comes from.
I hear that. I think that, part of scaling voice is that validation curve.
Of course.
Yeah, and validation is very hard to come by. I don't think that validation is something that you really should seek. I think validation usually comes after the presence has been deployed and then respected. It
Makes sense.
respected doesn't have to be positive,
Hmm. You can
you know?
begrudgingly respect someone.
Oh yeah. I learned recently you don't have to say agree to disagree. You can say I respect your
Of
perspective.
course, yeah. It's like the highbrow way of saying I disagree with you. You know,
Yeah, I don't have to even agree or disagree. I just respect your perspective.
I think I actually don't. I think I actually don't like that. It's interesting because I feel it's a sharper sword than it looks.
You think respecting someone's perspective would be sharper than I agree to disagree? It
Yeah,
is
because
good.
I feel
It is
I feel
good.
like when you do say that, I don't think you truly respect it. I think you're saying it because you have to say because you feel by
Hmm.
you saying that it clears you, absolves you of anything you say after that. You know what I mean?
I could
It
say
might.
that, yeah, I could say from your perspective, it could be that way. This is awesome. We're chopping it up. Welcome to the
But
live
also,
podcast. Yeah.
let me just backtrack for a second. It also comes
Yeah.
down to who's saying it to you. I think it's important what the other party is. Like, if you said it to me, it's different than say someone who I know that there's already apprehension or some sort of negativity attached to it. At that point,
Yeah.
I think it's very much a subjective process or subjective understanding or filtration of the phrase, depending on who's saying it, where you're saying it,
It's
when you're
good.
saying it.
Well, respect is a big category.
Sure.
I think that respect has been undermined personally. And that's I think the point of like PPL in general is, the person that should respect your words the most is yourself.
Of course.
And you should get them out. And so the fact that you even wanted to acknowledge just a couple of little bifurcations on what I interpreted my experience recently, right? I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's all real good context that I don't think everything's done,
Right.
like not like it's like the work is always
The pen is
available.
never dry, right? The pen is never
Yeah,
dry.
there it is. That's a
You
good
know,
one. I
the
like
pen is
idioms.
never dry.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I think that's where Shoebill works so well. Is that I think one of the issues is it's a safe space. And a lot of times creators go into these places and these platforms, and it's the Wild West, and they have to fend for
Environments.
themselves, in these environments and platforms, and they have to fend for themselves. There's a lot of negativity. They start from a place of negativity, and they don't start from a baseline, And I
Right.
think that's what sets us apart is that there's a baseline. It's
Right.
a baseline of respect, it's a baseline of permissionless, a baseline of expand on your creativity. There's
Absolutely.
no one's gonna, bite back at you here.
Yeah, the expanded or creativity, I think we should emboss that, right?
Yeah,
Like this is the joy of being on PPL, right? Is like we're moving forward. We're
yeah,
moving thought forward. And so, taking that, expansion on creativity, PPL, the mission is to scale free speech, but you have to understand what's already been, deployed.
right.
And that's the respect that I would say is what I would like the definition to be, right? It's like I want to respect Aristotle. I want to respect Voltaire. I want to respect, the greats that got even Shoebill, myself, and my voice out. Where it's like you have to give credit to the teachers,
Of
you
course,
know.
you have to. No, that's. I think that's a given. You have to. I mean, because if not, then why are we here? If not to continue thought, not to continue in those big shoes, footprints that they left behind.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about the insanity of even being important,
Right.
10,000 years later or 4,000. I mean, they're not that old, but like say 1,000 years later,
Yeah.
that we're still having conversation on something that if you had told Aristotle 1,000 years ago, two guys are going to be talking about you on a camera,
Right.
8 hours apart,
Right.
or whatever the case. No, not even 3 hours apart.
Yeah, coast to coast, I guess you could say,
Coast
or
to coast,
globally,
globally, to a global platform,
Right.
it would break his mind, and he would,
Absolutely.
So, but even then, and not to go down, just to finish this tangent,
No, go down. No, go ahead. You're cooking.
maybe it wouldn't even break his mind. Maybe he would be able, because of who he is, he'll be able to grasp it, even in the weakest way of grasping it. He could maybe grasp it from a macro level, like, oh, okay,
Totally.
yeah, maybe I
I
understand
wanna-
the machinery aspect
yeah.
of it, but I understand the concept of it. if that
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense.
you're going. You're in the right direction. You know, like we want to pierce the veil. I mean, I think that's a human capacity. You know,
Or
is
look
we
behind
wanna-
it.
Yeah, or look behind it or go behind the curtain. And you know, they say the best time travel is a book, right? You know, and so for me, like building Shoebill was like, you know, jumping into Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle and Poetics by Aristotle and learning, you know, how Aristotle classified a tragedy versus a comedy, right? And this is all content 101. Like you could
Yeah.
go to Juilliard, right, and learn about tragedies, right? And they would
Right.
open up Poetics by Aristotle.
Of course, it's a standard. It's become a
It's a
standard.
standard. Yeah. So if you don't go through the classics, then what are you doing on a platform anyway? Right. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of my point as far as where did you get the information? Where did you, you know, what are you peacocking today and parroting today versus are you producing?
hmm Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's definitely a standard that you'd want to live by, and knowledge should be the forefront of any creator, content or not. You know,
Yeah.
it should be the forefront. You should be getting better. You should be learning, and they're classics for a reason. I remember I used to have a professor who say that they're classics for a reason.
You can't
goes-
beat the classics, man.
Yeah, he goes, "There's a reason why the term classics is around." You know, so
Yeah.
they don't call everything a classic.
Oh
So-
God, it's hard to be a classic, man. You
I
know?
mean, yeah, that's what you want. You want to be a classic. You want to be the
Mhm.
first. You want to be the best.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, doing new is hard, right? Creating your own beat is hard.
Sure.
Um,
Especially when you're the only one beating that drum for a while. So that's
for
tough.
sure. But then, like, you know, there's other things that I think are awesome, like in content. Let's jump into Ali's world a little bit more, right? Like, you know, the Scorsese walk through, you know, the restaurant, through the kitchen, that
Oh,
whole
of course.
scene.
Goodfellas? Yeah.
The whole scene in Goodfellas, you know, that's been produced and reproduced how many times in gangster movies
For
from
sure.
that point?
Matrix. Bullet time
Yeah.
in Matrix. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the thing is about the industry. I mean, look at however you feel about Quentin Tarantino. I'm
I love
personally,
Quentin.
you know, I
Yeah.
do enjoy Quentin. I do feel he's a little bit too involved in his own work.
Yeah, there
I
you
do
go.
love him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he ripped off. He's very open about ripping off. I mean, that's a
Oh, yeah.
constant conversation.
I've shared it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
he loves, and he's very open about it. And I
His
think
angles.
that's okay. You know, his angles, his shots, his storylines.
It's an homage.
Yeah,
It's
all homage.
gravitas in some frame. You know, it's
Yeah.
an homage, gravitas.
So that's in a sense a realm of the classics. You know, it's being
Yeah.
so the classics don't necessarily mean just Aristotle and Socrates and
No.
Voltaire and Camus.
No.
It could also be, you know, it could be
Tarantino.
Scorsese and Tarantino
Yeah.
and Bregman and Elia
Gary
Kazan,
Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it scares people away sometimes where they're like, well, because everyone has a different way of growing up. Maybe they weren't exposed to, you know, Camus' The Stranger or The Holiday, but maybe they were introduced to, you know, Nas. You know, maybe they were
There you
exposed to Stillmatic
Right.
or Illmatic. You know what I mean? You know,
Illmatic, yeah.
one of the greatest albums of all time, and that's a
Incredible.
classic. You know, if you
Or
can tap into
gone
that.
through the Jay-Z blueprint for real and
Yeah,
understood
1
that
through
Kanye
3.
was a part of it and like
Exactly.
all this stuff. Like, I mean, people like to talk about Kanye, but don't even know that he was a producer to begin with.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and
all he
haven't
did in the
watched the
beginning.
Netflix show, you know, like
Yeah,
so it's credence, right? I mean, we're talking about credence at this point, you know, and you got to verify the truth.
yeah,
like what are we doing verifying people when we could be verifying the truth and then we could stand behind it, right? And that's the angle is like, bro, we have so much truth available. We have so much good
Right.
frameworks that
It's
have been
it's
shown us.
Listen, it's in the wild. You just have to grab it. And I think to me, you know, not to wax poetic on it, but it's knowing your true self. It's being okay being your true self, because being a creator is tough, whether it's content or whatever. It's tough out here, you know. So you want to be in a position where whatever that honesty is be honest, be
Yeah.
true, know the classics, and live in the world of being permissionless, you know. Just
Yeah,
do
hell
it.
yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And it's
Just
like,
do
even
it.
something like this is a podcast, right? People are gonna sit there and say, there's a million podcasts. Everyone is. So the F what? Just do it.
Well, podcasts have been around since like the beginning of the fucking millennium, guys.
Right.
So
It might not have been called a podcast, but maybe it was a radio show. I mean, Stern. And
I got a
Opie
Guinness Book of
Anthony.
World Records over here from 2007 talking about the future. And
Right.
it's saying podcasts on the cover of 2007 Guinness Book. So, you know,
that's it. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, don't ask for permission. Don't say tomorrow. Just do today. I mean, as someone who's has lived in that world, you know what I mean? Be a shoe bill. Be prevalent. You know what I mean? Be a presence. Don't be afraid to be a presence, isn't it? I mean,
get after it.
you know what I mean? Listen, you don't have to be the shark. Everyone wants to be the shark. Everyone wants to be the alligator. No, you could just be the shoe bill, and just be. And guess what?
You can eat
It's
eels
a club
all
of
day.
three. Guess what? It's a club of three, and one of the three is shoe bill.
Yeah,
So
club
it's
of
like,
3, 1 shoe bill. That's
you know what I
exactly
mean?
right.
So you're in the club.
Yeah,
You know? You're
I love it.
You're at the Tao of the animal kingdom. You know what I mean?
Sell it. Oh, I love it.
Does it matter? Does it matter if you're sitting where you're sitting at Tao? No, you're there.
Yeah, right. Shoe bill gets you in places that you wouldn't believe.
Exactly. So I think, to me, that's my message. Like, just continue creating.
Yeah.
And don't ask for permission. Just do it.
Right. Well, because I mean, let's wrap this up, because I hear your baby boy yelling in the background. But like, let's wrap this up, because like shoe bill's cool. Shoe bill gives you access.
Yeah.
You know, and to shout out Gary Vee, honestly, he was always saying that. He's like, the game is access, y'all.
Of course.
You know,
it's where you're going to be, who are you going to be. I mean, as you know, I mean, as someone in the field, just like I am, when you get to when you go to any major event that you're a part of, whether it's Coachella or Sundance or whatever,
South by, you
get to see what the respect that you get from access. If you have the access, if you're someone who has the access, even if it's a small amount of access, the fact that you're even on
that
the beginning of that pedestal, right?
Yeah.
People just want to climb on, for good or bad. Mostly whatever.
It's a carrier. PPL is a carrier. We're a global carrier. We've been around for a year. I bootstrapped it on my LinkedIn page, but I'm a native. Been on X for Twitter for a long time, and Periscope and all these things. So it's really more of like a centralization campaign, where we can distribute and we can prove the access and prove the permissionless and prove the verification of truth. Like that's it in a wrap, and then we have our run ahead of us, right? I mean, it's all run time. If you're in the PPL, you're always on runtime. It's not like, oh yeah, runtime turns off. It's like, man, you got to learn how to shut down your runtime so it still runs, So, that's kind of my off ramp on the first episode here. But, Ali, what do you have to say just to kind of close us out and get us ready for the run?
At the end of the day, it's we're talking about something like what shoe bill is and PPL and all these frameworks. Really, again, it's not to wax poetic like some of these podcast guys, but as someone, can only speak from experience, and my experience is I've spent time where I didn't get any work done, and I wasted months and weeks and years saying tomorrow I'll get it done. No, I'll get it done. Do it, and I had to change my perspective. And honestly, you'll see people. I think I will close on one thing that Dave Chappelle said when he came back from his hiatus. And he goes, I was on a red carpet and people are saying, you know, we're boycotting. You know, you shouldn't be here. And he goes,
Yeah.
is there anything more of a boycott than giving up my show for 10 years and seeing Key
He
and Peele
did.
do my show the whole time that I was gone? That's exactly it. I kind of had that vibe where it's like I put people on in the beginning where I was a beacon, and then I kind of dimmed out and I saw people kind of rush past me doing exactly what I told them to do. Like the only person I can be upset with is myself. So to wrap that up,
Yeah.
like the concept of Shoe Bill, and I love the fact that we kind of like made that the focus, because the concept of Shoe Bill is that, hey man, patience, persistence, and who knows, maybe you'll end up somewhere 10,000 years later hanging out with an alligator and a shark, and you know, everyone is like wondering who you are and how you're still around, but you made it.
Yeah. You know, you could be like Del the funky Homo sapien,
Sapien,
you know?
yeah.
Del
93
3030, bro.
Yeah. 93
Sick.
and
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good mic drop for us, you know, Deltron. But
thank you, MJ. Thank you for this. This is awesome.
oh, it's so
I look forward
fun.
to PPL. Look forward to all the goodness of it moving forward.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, like, big shout out to you, Ali, bro. Thanks for being the first guest.
Yeah,
and
I'm honored. Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah, we're excited to have you. I like to say we're at PPL because Shoe Bill's always included.
Of course, yeah.
You know, we're excited to have you.
No
Excited for
welcome wait.
Sundance.
Oh yeah,
Sundance is
I
next
can't. I
week.
look forward to seeing you next week, man. It's gonna
Oh
be
my
great.
gosh. Yeah, we'll have to do a live stream
Let's
from
do it.
Sundance, dude.
Hell
Like,
yeah,
let's
we'll
just
do it.
we might have to do a weekly show, you know. We got a few things. I mean, we have to wrap it up on just a few hashtags. So we got a hashtag for me and Ali. It's in the cut, hashtag in the cut. We also, and it's spelled proper, in the cut,
right,
as well as ghost stories, right? We're launching ghost stories together.
Oh yeah, Ghost Stories. I'm excited for you guys. I mean, you guys stick around. Ghost Stories is gonna be great. I mean, having this much experience in this industry together, I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, it's all ghost stories, really.
Lots to chop up in the cut, huh, baby
Yeah.
boy?
Hashtag in the cut. Hashtag Ghost Stories.
All right. Sick. Way to sign off like a true pro on Professional Podcasting League. This was fun. We'll try not to be like Tony Reali too much, but you know, it was good around the horn with you, my guy.
Yeah, you too, man.
Okay, signing off. Later.
See ya.
Bye.